Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Kaga. So today is one of those great foyers into the community spotlight spectrum. And today we have Cruiser Augusta showing us what for in the Tier 4 American destroyer, the Clemson. So a little bit of rundown about the Clemson, because I'm not certain I've done much of anything with this particular ship other than a particular comedy video for all intents and purposes. We're going to talk a little bit about the Clemson until we get into some actual gameplay, because there's the certain trend in warships that either all the action is stacked up at the beginning or it's stacked up at the end, or you get the point. It's just concentrated in one particular area. So let's talk about the Clemson. Up to this point is that you've had the Samson, the Wicks. They all had these single-mounted guns. They turned relatively quickly. They were relatively fast-firing. But by the time you hit Tier 4, that single-mounted nature of those guns is starting to become a little problematic, especially for gunboats. The Clemson is the first of the U.S. destroyers, and I think it's one of the few that does have it from this point onward, is the twin-mounted 127mm mountings. In particular, these specific guns, when you upgrade them on the Clemson, replace the single mountings and don't sacrifice any number of mountings, so what you get is just double the fire volume. And you know, that's one of those things that, at least when I had the Clemson and was playing it fairly regularly, it made the ship fun. So you in effect have 8 127mm, well, I won't say destroyer guns, because it's actually closer to like autocannon fire, because of just the way this particular ship tends to work, and you know, that constant clicking makes it fun. Let's talk another little something about the Clemson. Unlike any of the Japanese destroyers, which all have these centerline mounted torpedoes, and it's quite like the Wicks, where you have the mountings on both sides of the ship. But it's unlike the rest of the U.S. destroyer line, which also have, so from the Nicholas onward, you have the centerline mounted torpedoes. The Clemson is unique even in comparison to the Wicks, because they're offset a little bit. The ones on the port side are a little bit more in front than the ones on the starboard. And these torpedoes, well, they don't have a healthy amount of range. I believe it was either 4.5 or 5.5 kilometers. I mean, it's nothing to write home about, but oh boy, that's a lot of torpedoes. And one of the great tactics you can do is just come up along one side, plant a face load of them in your opponent, turn the ship around, unload the rest, and by the time you've swung back around, the first set of tubes that you fired should be just about reloaded. And this way, the Clemson is perhaps one of the best torpedo spammers in the game, and it doesn't need the benefit of anything other than the 2-point captain skill to do this. But you know what? Most people look at a U.S. destroyer and they say, this is a gunboat. Who cares about the torpedoes? They've got great guns, they're fast firing, you can keep firing, you can load them up on Sunday and shoot them all week long. And you know, that's definitely one way to play it. But you know, occasionally, the enemy gives you the opportunity to put these torpedoes to work without being suicidal. And you know what? I don't really want to spoil it, but I think you get a feeling if I'm talking about the torpedoes in this section, maybe the title is a little bit of a misnomer. So here we go. We're going to move forward and go down this little lovely corridor here on straight. on the eastern end of the map. I must say, it's one of the great little passages for destroyers because, and I say that mainly in the respect that this particular passage can either be you come around, you can derp someone in the face with a crap ton of torpedoes, or you come around the bend and there's a cruiser waiting for you, or you come around the bend and oh, there's a torpedo there. Bleep, bleep, and sunk. So it's one of those, the unknown is what makes this area so much fun. I know that in some cases you can count the number of icons appearing on the mini-map, but right now there are some unaccounted for other than the carrier, so this is going to be unknown. Is it anything there? Enemy team calling turtles. Calling the turtles. Okay. Yeah, I guess they really did turtle into the Charlie capture point. Well now, if you were in this position, you have two options. You can start harrying the enemy fleet right there, or you can try to make use of this hole in the enemy formation to maybe sneak behind them, and while you're behind them, try to find an aircraft carrier. Oh wait, planes. I wonder if they're over here, that aircraft carrier. So this is one of those things that I've watched this video, or not the video, but the replay about 3 times at this point. And there's going to be a moment right up here where I'm sitting there still pondering, does Augusta have the Sixth Sense / Intuition perk on this captain? I mean, I'm just sitting there trying to figure that out. I haven't seen, I don't recall seeing the little ticker go off, but I suppose it's one of those things. If it really is a gunboat and you're using it like a gunboat, you're probably not relying on stealth all of the time. So I can see how that might not seem like a good thing to use that first point captain skill on, because, you know, the basic fire training turns this thing into an autocannon, because it does affect primary armaments up to 139 millimeters, I think. Just the same way that advanced fire training will work on destroyer class guns. Oh yeah, and it looks like we've sniffed out the enemy carrier, so let's go. Yep, at 2.7, 2.8 kilometers. Yeah, that guy's aircraft came close enough to spot this old little Clemson, but we didn't see the blip, so I guess Augusta is not running the Intuition / Sixth Sense skill. So the enemy Holshall has recovered his bombers and launching fighters, but he's coming under fire from Augusta. Well, unfortunately for him, the speed and maneuverability advantage that Japanese carriers have is utterly useless on that border. And now I'm sitting there going, there's a part in me that says, I can understand why you want the enemy aircraft carrier on fire, but I'm just sitting there going, but you could have shredded him with AP. And now I bet some people in the audience are going, wait, you use armor piercing in destroyers? And yes I do. Because it works. On really close targets, and in particular carriers or cruisers. And it looks like Augusta didn't quite read that torpedo drop correctly and took one in the bow. Dropped smoke just to avoid getting unnecessary shelling damage from that enemy Tenryu. So, and that's one of those things that's kind of gets tricky with the Japanese carriers, is that you don't really know if what you're going to get is a perfectly parallel auto drop or a ever narrowing manual drop, and that can make it a little bit tricky unless you are almost have your attention glued to the sky. But anyway, that's not the point here. One of those things that oftentimes you see some destroyer captains do is just sitting in the smoke screen, firing away. Sometimes that works. It's particularly good if you're trying to harry an enemy battleship at the intermediate range. But go ahead, be honest with yourselves. How many of you would have pulled the trigger on that Tenryu? How many of you would have done it and given your position away? Now I know that you might try doing something a little bit funny, like backward, forwards, all in the name of dodge! Yeah, doesn't quite work all the time. And I say that because cruiser guns are, well, for all intents and purposes, you can consider most of them to be laser accurate. But, and here's the but, that's not what is going to sink you if you're not maneuvering enough. It's the fact that they can be off target and enough and firing enough, as in they're firing enough rounds per minute to ruin your day. And I gotta wonder, for a ship that is carrying torpedoes, it's almost as if torpedoes don't exist on other boats for that Tenryu. Lord, please, can I get enemies like this? Can I, please? Oh, MM, why do you forsake me? I just want an enemy like that once in a while. Please? 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 I guess it's too much to ask. Though, there's one thing that I would want more than just an enemy cruiser forgetting that torpedoes exist, is an enemy battleship that forgets torpedoes exist. Then again, from a destroyer's perspective, what could be better than a battleship sailing in straight lines? Well, let me think about that one. Let me think about that one for a second here. What could be better than a battleship that sails in straight lines? I know. How about one that's sitting still? That would be great, right? That would be awesome. Wait. Do my eyes deceive me? Anyone else see smoke? Because I don't. Do you see smoke? I don't see smoke. Do you see smoke? Nope. Nope. Let's find out, shall we? Is this all an elaborate ruse? Well, let's find out, yeah? So, Augusta, go ahead, launch torpedoes. At this range, even if he did start, I doubt he would ever be able to dodge them. So this is a foregone conclusion. Plop, plop. And you know, it's one of those things about, when I first saw those damage numbers pop up, I literally was like, oh wait, yeah, American destroyer torpedoes, right, yeah, maybe I'm a bit spoiled with Japanese destroyer torpedoes, which do somewhere on the order of between 15 and 20,000 damage a hit. Although I think the lower tier ones, they do like maybe 10 to 12,000, but still. He gets spoiled by it. I almost feel sorry for this Kawachi. I almost feel sorry for him. But then again, he's on the enemy team, so... maybe not. 2 hits. Augusta's on picks up the Confederate Award. Puts in one more spread, and that ends the match. So, thank you for having bared with me for the last 15 minutes. I hope that this subscriber / community spotlight was of interest to you all. I hope to get information out there on how you can get your replays up onto the channel if that's what interests you. Show your skills that either I don't have or someone else on the channel doesn't have. Maybe there was something funny that happened in a particular video. Well, if that's the case, go ahead, save those replays and pay attention for your opportunity to find yourself on to the next subscriber spotlight. Details to come. I hope you like this video. Please consider giving it a like down below. If you're new to the channel, please consider hitting the old subscribe button and sticking around for future content. And this is one of the few times I will promise a particular set of content. I have an absolute bang up of an Iowa replay for you all to come tomorrow. So please look forward to that. So once again, thank you and good day.